What is up, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, we're going to take a little deep dive into interfaces in Golang. I already covered interfaces in Golang a couple of times, but still people are confused about them. And that has nothing to do, again, with your skill level. It has to do with coming from other languages where things behave, where things are getting done, where stuff are getting done differently. You know what I mean? And then you come to Golang, and then you have the concept of interfaces, and yeah, it's kind of hard to grasp your mindset around that concept. Well, no problem. We're gonna make another video. You ask and I deliver. That's what it is. But before we continue, if you like my videos, guys, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a thumbs up and leave some questions in the comments. Jump into my Discord community, and for the people that really want to level up, I have the full-time GoDev course, again, at 50% discount. It's actually more as 50% discount, but that's a marketing trick. This is what it is, but still is at 50% discount, right? So if you want to buy it, it's not your chances right now. It's today. It's the once in a lifetime opportunity, guys. I swear to God. Check it out. Come into the Discord community, ask people what they think about that, so you can actually have some real time reviews about it. Okay, enough marketing. So basically, I have this beautiful stuff, Golang stuff laid out already, and we're going to talk a little bit about football players. Why I'm taking this example is because everybody knows that, right? It's not an NFL player, it's a football player. Soccer in some countries, football player. What does every football... Let's say you're a manager, right? You're a manager of a football team, and you need to assemble 11 players, right? If you need to assemble 11 players and you're going to take it from a higher level perspective, right? Not go into the details, but just from a high level perspective. And you have a list of 1,000 football players that basically subscribe to your team or willing to join your team. What do you expect from them? Right? Not knowing the details, right? You don't know if it's Ronaldo, it could be Messi, it could be Haaland, who knows? It could also be, I don't know, your neighbor. You know what I mean? This fat, lazy, you know what I mean? It could be him, right? But we assume that the people that basically subscribe to the list for joining our team, they can all kick a ball. You know what I mean? They can kick a ball. That's very important, right? There's a contract between me and my players that if you are going to be in my team, you should kick a ball. You know what I mean? You should at least know how to kick a ball. You could say, yeah, but some people are basically have more accuracy, they have better technique, they hit the ball with the left foot, with the right foot. Some people hit it with the both foot, whatever it is. The inside, the outside of the foot. There is a lot of things that can happen here. Completely true. But that is basically details, player details, specific. You know what I mean? And that's not what we care about, right? We're just going to assemble our team first. So we have here a football player. If you think about that, how can we translate that to Golang code? Well, I have this minimalistic thing set up here. We have a type as a football player. It's a structure, right? It has stamina and power. And like I said, they have one function, right? One function only, which we are interested in right now. And that's going to be kick ball, right? And we have some crazy algorithm going on here. We have the stamina plus the power is going to be the shot. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, I sucked that out of my thumb. And then we're going to print out that I am kicking the ball, and we're going to print out the shot, which is calculated from their fields, right? Their statistics, their stats. So if we enter our main function here, which is where all the magic happens, right? We have a team. We're going to make 11 football players. You know what I mean? Football, 11 players, one goalkeeper, of course. But of course, he also needs to kick a ball. Let's be honest. So then we're going to loop over that team. We're going to fill our array or slice to be politically correct. And we're going to do some random numbers here from 1 to 10. And then we're going to range over our team, over our football team. And we're going to all let them kick the ball. Right, that's what it is. And of course, I run this already just to see that it's working. I'm going to say go run main.go here, guys and girls. And we're going to see that they all have these things. And the last one is basically the best one. And then we have this poor little guy here with 4 or here 3 even. He is basically sitting on the bank for the whole season. That for sure, right? So that's that. So we have a little program here, fine. And you could see everything is working perfectly fine. So if we think about this, right? Pause the video or something and think about this code, right? If you're gonna look at this code, it seems okay. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with this code, right? There is, like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, there is no such thing as bad code or good code. It is always something. It's an ancient old scam where people are basically discussing all about, and it doesn't really matter. In my opinion, the thing that really matters is the end result. But there are some problems. There could be some problems here with this code, right? And it all starts with the football player, right? They all can kick a ball, but we also discussed, like, okay, there are some players that have a better technique, right? There are some players that are much faster. There are some players with the schwung factor. You know what I mean? The schwung. For example, if you have Cristiano Ronaldo or you have Messi or Haaland or something, they have the schwung. You know what I mean? They also have a celebrity status and all that stuff. And if you need to calculate how they're going to kick a ball, it can be very complicated here, right? Because you're going to have different types of football players. You're going to have a slow football player. You're going to have a left foot football player. You're going to have maybe a two-footed football player. You're going to have a football player with schwung. You're going to have a football player with bar and a football player with foo. And if you want to calculate all that stuff in your kickball here for your football player, you're going to end up with a field, and you're going to end up with a lot of fields in your structure. You know what I mean? Look at this, all these fields here, and then you're going to make an if stuff, if whatever, right? And you're going to have a lot of if statements in your kickball. And if you need to test that, it's going to be very, very complicated because a lot of stuff can happen, right? Maybe some hard-coded values and all that shenanigans. You're gonna have a bad time, right? But these problems, most of the time, they do not pop up from the beginning of your program. They come as the time goes by, right? And then you're basically a little bit stuck in your programming. You're gonna hit a wall. You need to refactor, and you're gonna have a bad time. Luckily, of course, if you come from other languages like a Python or something that with an object-oriented approach, you're going to have a base football player, and then you're going to have all these inheritance stuff, and you're going to have a good time. But in Golang, we don't have that concept. We have the concept of interfaces, right? So let's see how we're going to refactor this thing into an interface. So the first thing we know is that every football player, the only thing we're concerned about in this simplified high level example, the only thing we are concerned about is the kickball function, right? So an interface is basically a contract between me and something else, most of the time a structure, well, actually always a structure. It's a contract between me and some kind of arbitrary structure where I don't care about what it's doing as the internals, as the implementation, as the code which sits in the function we signed a contract for, or functions. The only thing we care is that if I call this function, it's going to do something. That's the only thing, right? If we make here a type football player interface, right? And we only care about the kickball function, right? Kickball, actually two L's probably, right? And of course, this football player is going to be in big problem because we have a football player interface. Let's basically do player here, so it's going to be working pretty fine, right? We're going to have a player interface, and it's going to have a kickball. We don't care if it's going to kick the ball hard, if it's going to kick the ball with the left foot, with the right foot, with both foot at the same time. We don't care. The only thing we care is that if we call kickball, it's going to kick a ball. But how? We don't care about that, right? We just want to call this function without being fucked by the compiler, without getting a runtime problem. You know what I mean? So, how do we do that? So we have a player, we have a kickball function. Now we need to basically change some stuff up here, right? So we have a football player, which is basically a slice of the direct implementation of the football player struct. We don't want that. We want to have a slice of players, right? 11 slice of players. So, yeah, the thing is it's kickball. Yeah, it's fine. So what we're going to do here, let me change this function up here, right? So why do I do this? Because if I hover over this problem here, it's going to say, cannot use football player, the value of a type football player, which is that structure type football player, as a player, right? So football player and player, we cannot assign these two together. Why? Because football player does not implement the player interface. And why? Because it's missing the method kickball. So if we delete this X here, it's going to work perfectly fine because we have a contract, right? We have a contract between our team, they are players, and the contract is, I don't care what type of structure you're going to insert into my slice, into my team, as long as the structure you place into it has a kickball function. I don't care. Maybe it's a function that does nothing. We don't care. Maybe it's a function that just prints a string. We don't care. It just needs to kick a ball. Here. Kick ball. Right? So this opens up the opportunity for some clean code. Why? Because we have this football player here. We can actually copy this thing right now. Boom. Copy this player here. Football player. We're going to call this, for example, Ronaldo. We're going to call this CR7 here. CR7. Right? 7. Which is Cristiano Ronaldo, and the 7 comes from his back number, which is 7. You know what I mean? And we're going to say stamina power, we're going to give him some Su. You know what I mean? We're going to give him Su. Su, that's what we're going to give him. It's an integer. It's a special integer only Ronaldo has. You know what I mean? And we're going to say here, we're going to implement that, right? So we're going to copy this kickball function here. We're going to paste that in here, like that. We're going to delete some spaces. You could also save, but it's fine. And we're going to say F is going to be CR7, right? And CR7 is going to kick the ball, but we're going to say F stamina plus power, and we're going to times 2. You know what I mean? That's what it is, right? So right now what we could do actually is we're going to make 11 football players. So we're going to land team -1, to be honest, right? Just like that. And then we're going to say team len. I'm going to do something crazy, guys. Len team equals to, this is gonna wreck my video, I swear to God. It's gonna be CR7, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then we're gonna say, right? So we're gonna loop actually 10 times, to be honest, right? And then the last one, we're actually gonna say, it's gonna be CR7, and we're gonna say stamina. We're gonna give him 10, of course, and then we're gonna give him here some power, right? It's gonna be 10, and then we're gonna give him some Su, right? It's also it's going to be 8, right? So actually 10 because it's from him, right? It's his word. Something like that. I'm not sure it's going to work. Let me see. And to be honest, what I'm going to say here, I'm kicking the ball. You're going to say here CR7. CR7 is kicking the ball. Is kicking the ball. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's all fine, guys. It's all good. You already see it coming, but I don't. So basically, look what's happening, guys. Everybody's kicking the ball with these rookie numbers, and then we have CR7 is kicking the ball with the Su swung factor attached to it. And this shot is not going to be stopped, right? It's not going to be stopped. You know what I mean? Unless you're Courtois, which is also a Belgian player, by the way. That's why Belgium is superior. That's not true, but you get my point. Right, so you can see, right, instead of doing in this football player in the beginning, instead of adding some Su here, and then we need to check if the player is CR7, if the player is Ronaldo, then we need to say, then we need to print that CR7 is kicking the ball. Otherwise, we need to say that I'm kicking the ball. And what happens if we have Messi into the team? Then we need to say if it's Ronaldo, do this. If it's Messi, do that. And anybody else do this, right? And then you have something else, Roberto Carlos from back in the days. I don't know if you remember him, but he was, or maybe Arjen Robben. You know what I mean? He looks a little bit like me, or maybe I look a little bit like him. Arjen Robben. You can see, we can have a list of these players, and it's always going to be if-else's, right? And that is going to end up in very, very unreadable code. But right now, it's very easy, basically. What you could do is actually just say, You can just copy this whole shebang, right? Boom, just like that. And then we're going to make a new one here. We're going to call this Messi. You know what I mean? Messi, stamina, Su. Well, let's say that Messi also has a Su factor. Doesn't really matter, just for the sake of this demonstration here. So we're going to say Messi, right? And then we could say, for example, this is nasty code, what I'm doing here, not going to lie. This is what it is, right? Let's add Messi. This is so bad, but it is what it is, guys. Messi, and then you're gonna say Su is 9 because Su is from Ronaldo. You know what I mean? Something like that, right? Messi's getting the ball. We have some problem here because never do what I do. Close your eyes, right? Well, just like that. So you see, CR7 is kicking the ball, and then Messi is also kicking the ball. But the problem is that Messi has a little less because Messi's Su factor is not that great. It's not that good as the man himself, right? So that's basically it. I mean, if you do not understand this simplified video, guys, then I am very bad teacher. then I'm a very bad teacher. But I think you should. You could also do something with circles and squares, like the Go playground and all that stuff. But like I said, sometimes you need to think a little bit differently in order to make these logical connections inside of your brain, right? And the only way we can do that is to take some real world scenarios where you can feel comfortable with, where you can feel familiar with, and implement that, reflect that into code, start with something that doesn't really fit is the best way, and then build this up. And I hope this explains interfaces. And you could say, but yes, how can we know the name here, right? So for example, let's do a last thing before we close this video. Let's say we delete this, right? And we delete this stuff, and we want to say, maybe this is going to return the shot factor, right? It's going to be an integer. So we're going to actually return this, right? Return, because we're going to change this up. Kickball is going to return an integer. It's going to return the shot factor, power, whatever you want to call it. So what we need to do is we need to return this stuff instead of printing it out. We're going to say that this is going to return an integer, just like that. Int. Then we're going to have this football player int here. Delete that. Return. Okay, you could see that right now they have the same logic here, but if they have different kinds of statistics, you're going to see that it's going to differ, right? So take that in mind. And then we're going to have, instead of basically here, team kick a ball, we're also going to say team. You could actually do an fmts print f here. You're going to say %s is kicking the ball. Just like that. And then maybe we could do a %d. And we're going to say team.y.name, right? Which is not going to happen. And then we're going to say team.y kickball, right? It's going to return the shot. So it's going to have a problem here, which is name, right? You could see name undefined. The player has no field or method name. That's completely true because we only have kickball, right? And we cannot access these fields here from, you could actually say, for example, name here. It's not going to change, right? It's not going to change. What we need to do is we need to add this function here, name, which is going to return a string, right? It's going to return a string. And now this function is going to work perfectly fine. But we're going to have a problem because all these guys here, they do not implement the player interface. Why? Because we added a function name, but they don't have that function name. So we have a contract and somebody is basically not following the contract. So we need to change that. Well, how do we do that? Very simple. We're going to make a function here, func f, going on f, cr7 here, name, do this string, return, the cr7, right? cr7, boom, just like that. And then we're going to copy this. We're going to paste it here for Messi, right? Messi. And then for this football player, let's do func f football player name this string, return, I don't know, fucking unknown, right? We don't know what it is. A random guy, random. Boom, just like that, right? So now everybody's happy, right? So we're gonna do this thing. We could actually do this, print f, to be honest. Print f, my bad, right? So let's run this again. Go run main.go, right? So now, yeah, of course, can we do a new line? Yeah, we can. Clear the screen. Boom. Right. So now random is kicking the ball because we don't know who it is. Random play, we don't care, right? And then CR7 and Messi is kicking the ball, right? So now we basically removed again some logic from our implementation stuff, and we actually placed that here because we added an extra function to the interface, right? Let me know what you think about this. I think when I was coming into this concept, I would have a good clue on what's going on right now. I hope this simplified example is helping you to have a better understanding, right, in Golang interfaces, and especially why do we need them, right? Why do we need those interfaces? Because otherwise, our football player structure that we had in the beginning is going to grow so hard that it's never going to fit any door. You know what I mean? Again, if you like this video, consider subscribing, leave some questions in the comments, jump into my Discord community, and check out the full-time code dev if you're interested. And I'm looking forward to see you in the next video or live stream. Peace.